The law of karma. Remember this in your mind. Avoid the bad, do only good. Purify your mind. When you die, you'll go to heaven. You have to know, and you must know, life's endless cycle of samsara. There is no way to get away under the law of karma.
My husband was born in Samut Province. He has 4 siblings. He is the oldest one. He doesn't have a warm family. His father used to work as a mechanical worker. Most of the other mechanics quit and ran their own business and made a lot of money, except him. Once he ran his own business, it however failed. In addition, his leg was broken by an explosion of gas tanks inside his shop. He was braced with steel. He later got hit in his broken leg while opening the door. He got hit again at the same spot. His father then dug garbage for a living. He wore dirty clothes that made his wife and children ashamed. One morning, she knocked his door to give him snack as usual, but she did not get any response. She decided to climb through his window and saw him lying down on his bed. She then called me at home and told my husband. When my husband heard father was dead, he suddenly got up from his bed and said, "How come I have not repaid a debt of gratitude to him?" When we arrived at his house, I saw his body laid down on an old bed. His room was very dirty and full of dust. His clothes were also unclean and full of dirt. His body started to smell. There was also a green bruise around his neck, which looked like it was squeezed. No one knew when he died. In his room, there was a column. On top of a column was tied a rainbow-colored cloth. His mother said that it was the column with milky sap. She sometimes dreamed and saw a lady wearing tight traditional dress walk around the house. Not too long after his death, my brother-in-law dreamed about him, that he visited home and he was very tall in his dream. His mother sometimes heard noises of the door shutting and opening from his room and loud footsteps from upstairs. She would shout out loud to him to go away, stop haunting, otherwise, she wouldn't let him stay in house and would dump his ashes into water. After her shouting, those noises disappeared. I and my husband have 3 children together. They are all boys. The second and third ones are twins, who were born apart from the oldest by 10 years. My oldest son is addicted to games since his primary school. He used to skip classes for 3 days just to play games at a department store. He had a problem making friends with others. Besides that, he did not have any patience. He used to have camping at school and sneaked out, returning home earlier. But he could ordain twice and could stay until the end of the program. When he was young, my husband really loved him. When he grew up, he liked to play games at his father's computer. He had changed his father's programs that made all his works damaged. This was part of the problem creator with him and his father. My husband started to hit his son in cruel ways, such as slap, punch, and kick. My husband always used very rude words and manners to his son. Those made him really hate his father. He used to call his father or his father's name instead of father. This happened for 9 months. This caused distance between the relationships until they did not talk to each other. One day, they had child prostrate father and mother before going to bed ceremony. My colleague at school suggested one monk from Dhammakaya Temple to come to my house in the evening. He was waiting for my husband and son for an hour. Once my husband knew that a monk was waiting for him at home, he did not come into the house and drove to another place. I also ran to follow him. The monk had mercy to give a sermon and teach my son. The monk told my son to prostrate his father, but he hesitated. Jel was only sitting face down and crying, and so the monk told my husband to hug his son. My husband also hesitated to hug, and no one moved. My heart was pounding up and down until finally, Laung Phaw spoke again. Later my husband laid his hand over his son's shoulder. Only touch from his father, he bent down to prostrate him. From that day, their manners seemed to be gentle. All severe punishments and impolite words of my husband were stopped. My son started to call his father father, after he stopped calling for 9 months. I felt I owed Laung Phaw a lot. If there was no Laung Phaw, my son would do a lot of demerit. Al thought they stopped fighting, but the relationship between father and son could not be returned. Currently, my son turned 14 years old. He lives with my older sister up country because my husband had a notice that if his son is still here, he will leave this house. My twin sons are 5 years old. Before I got pregnant, I was reciting the mantra Sama Arahang for 1,000 times, and I had a good dream that night. I dreamed of Maha Dhammakaya Sitaya, the golden sky. It was very beautiful. There were also lots of round stars that shined all over. Later, the stars started falling down and turned to beautiful rainy stars. I ran and tried to catch the stars. When the stars fell on the ground, it turned to a big crystal ball and covered my body. When I knew that I was pregnant, I separated bedroom from my husband until I delivered baby. Before I delivered the baby, I again recited the mantra Sama Arahang for 1,000 times. I saw mental objects like shiny ball, and then I delivered twin babies easily. In their childhood, both of them often hurt their head. The head of older twin got hit hardly one time. I was scared he would bleed in the brain because the older twin had low blood platelets. If he starts to bleed, it cannot be stopped. I had to take him to the hospital. Not a long time after, his twin brother had to be admitted because of severe diarrhea and had the brine. Unfortunately, the nurse could not find his blood vessel and tried to inject it his arms and legs for more than 10 times, and finally found one at his ankle. Both of them are smart, cute, and fast-learning children. They love to free fish a lot. The younger one cannot speak clearly and writes left-handed. When he meditates, he also positions his left leg over his right leg. Question: what karma my husband's father had, why he did not receive love and respect from his children and wife when he was still alive? Why does my husband turn to love and regularly dedicate merits for his father after he passed away? Why did Milky sap from the column occur? Who is the woman who wore Thai traditional dress and walked into the house? Is it related to the death of my husband's father? What caused my husband's father's death? Where has he been reborn? What karma my husband and oldest son have together so they were born to be father and son and enemies? Where had my twin children been born in past life? Why were they reborn as twins? Is it because of the merit from twins that made their father and mother not have a physical relationship since their pregnancy until delivery? What karma did the older twin have so he has low blood platelets? Is he close to repay all this retribution? What karma made the younger twin have stuttering problem? What should he do to resolve this? Why the older twin is right hand, but the younger one is left-handed? From medical studies, the person who writes left-handed is resulted from the right half of the brain being better developed than the left half. Speaking of Buddhism study, how does the person who writes left-handed come about? In the younger twin case, what is the reason to be left-handed? Is it abnormal? How can he resolve this? Why most people write right-handed? I wish 3 of my sons to be absorbed in Dhammakaya and ordained to be monks in Buddhism. How should I inculcate and raise them? The teaching monk who taught my oldest son to prostrate his father is always my virtue friend. I constantly help activities involved in Dhamma with him. Moreover, I feel like I have known him for a long time. How have I related to him? Why do many congregations recently and constantly ask for his advice? How firm is his ordination plan? My father died of lung cancer. Where has he been reborn? How did I, my husband and 3 sons pursue perfection our community? Let's listen to Dream and Dream. I closed my eyes, dreamed and woke up with these answers. When you tell anybody the story like a tale, it will make anyone know more about retribution, law of karma. The father of the husband did not receive love and respects from his child and wife because he lacked taking care of his parents' merit. He always performed generosity without respect, and also said words that hurt his parents. He also lacked in taking care of his child and wife's merit. It is retribution from his past life. When the husband's father died, his son turned to respect and performed an act of merit for him because in his past life he also realized after his father's death and performed merit afterward. The same retribution caused his son to do the same as him. The column at the house has milky sap because it has musician earth sprite possess and seems like having some energy in the column. The women in Thai traditional costume as musician earth sprite that live in house column but not related to the death of husband's father. Your husband's father died with a heart attack because it was the end of his life. After death, he became a normal earth sprite or Bhumathiva at home. After he received transfer merits, he has a better living. But he is still at home. The tall man whom your brother-in-law saw in his dream was only from his imagination. Nothing was real. The shutting and opening noise your mother-in-law heard was from father-in-law. After he attained merits, he encouraged and would like to send greetings to all and hoped to receive the merit again. Your husband and your oldest became father, son, and enemy because, in their past life, they used to be close friends. They had a fight on their work and attacked each other. They were separated for some time and later returned to their friendship. This pattern came with them to this life. The reason that they are father and son is they attain merits together, in which your husband provided funds for merit attainment and your son's name was put in participating in the merits. With this merits, they are now father and son. Your oldest son got punished severely by your husband for no reason because of his karma of vengeance. In the past life, they persuaded each other for investment. Your husband invested funds mostly and his son invested with labor. They later got into fight and feud until they're nice to each other again lately. The oldest son who was disrespectful to father and mother by words and misbehaviors has negative retribution with his father from last lives and will have the new karma. However, in this present life, they are in different status, so the retribution that the oldest son will have is if he has family and children. he will meet the same situation. If he doesn't ask forgiveness from his dad, his mind might not be clear and he will go to unfortunate realms. To resolve this, you have to resolve the whole family by turning to each other, having a reasonably talk and defunct karma between each other, forgetting all the mistaken past and starting with smile and love. Then your family will be happy. 2 of your children were born twins because they were siblings in the past life and persuaded each other to make merit and wish to be reborn as siblings again. When their merits coincided, they were reborn as twins. Before they were born, they are from mild brightness. When your husband knew that you were pregnant with twins, he did not have physical relationship with you, which is opposite from when you were pregnant with your oldest son. You and your husband constantly had physical relationships until delivery. This is because of the merit of twins who have a good mind and do not obsess with it. Twin is clever, adorable, and easy to raise because they have enough merit to be reborn. Thus can teach themselves. The older twin has low blood platelets because of his killing karma. In that life, he regularly pierced main vein a cow's neck with a sharp steel pipe and eventually drank it as medicine to boost up the energy. He still has the karma, so he should accrue all merit including generosity, precept, meditation and freeing big animals like cows and buffaloes that are about to be killed, and often dedicate merits to those animals. Eventually, his sickness will be recovered. The younger twin has stuttering problems because in the past, he uses to tease stuttering person and made him embarrassed, so the verbal misdeed gives its retribution. To resolve it, he should talk endearing speech and do not tease anyone to hurt their feelings. Also, he should regularly accrue merits and dedicate these merits to people whom he offended. When he was sick and had to be given brine, but the nurse could not find the veins, so he had to stick the needles in his arms and legs more than 10 times because of the past karma from killing insects like smashing ants, beating mosquitoes, and flies with stick. The older twin is right-handed, but the younger one is left-handed because when they made an offering, they both would use different side of hands. That is, if they give with the right hand, there will be right-handed, and if they give with the left hand, there will be left-handed. Therefore, it is just a habit and not abnormal. You wish 3 of your sons to be absorbed in Dhamma way and ordained to be monks in Buddhism. You should be your son's virtue friend to retain them in Dhamma way. Associate with wise men and be close to teaching monk with good discipline and be clever in teaching them. The teaching monk who gave a sermon to your oldest son to prostrate his father is always your virtue friend and feel like you have known him for a long time because in their past life, he also was a virtue friend of you and you supported him as well. He ordained in many lives and ordained the rest of his lives in many lives too. His ordination plan is firm, but he should not be careless, living in the monastic life. Currently, many congregations ask for his advice because he has a lot of kindness, loves to be in virtue friend duty, has never bored of giving suggestions, and loves to encourage people who do good deeds and fight for lives. He has pursued perfection with Dhammakaya community. In the last Buddha year, he was a young boy of good behavior and left the wealthy family to ordain. He followed the ordained king to ordain the rest of his life and propagate the Dhamma. His meditation results are superb. He attained inner Dhammakaya or inner peace and was able to go back to Tusita or the 4th level of heaven, in the special merit zone. After your father died with lung cancer, he is a high-class male angel in the lineage of celestial musicians at Chitamaharachika or 2nd level of heaven with the merit he made in Buddhism. Merit from what you told him to do and merit from your dedication. You, your husband and 3 of your sons used to pursue perfection with Dhammakaya community as a provider dependent upon moods. In this life we meet again. You should pursue perfections in all merit with fullest efforts and make a resolution to follow our community to Tusita or the fourth level of heaven, in the special merit zone, and never stray away from our community.